welcome to another edition of the Common Sense Podcast.
A common sense approach to real estate.
Excellent. I'm your host, Kurt Boomershank from The Right Creative, with our real estate expert and star of the show from RE/MAX Realty Group, Carmen Leonardo.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
And just before we went on air, my role here, I'm the driver of the show. You're the star.
I'm the star.
You're Miss Daisy.
I'm Miss Daisy.
I'm the driver. So we have our roles here. We understand. Okay.
Are you exerting yourself, Kurt?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I'm just a little punchy today.
Yeah, you are a little punchy.
Okay. Before we get started with our guest, Andrew Wollison of Wollison Insurance, we like to go over what is going on in real estate right now in the Monroe County, Rochester, Penfield area.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun to talk about real estate, and the market changes at the same time it stays the same. And it's been busy. The spring market is kind of starting to open up a little bit with the good weather. A lot more people are coming out to look at homes, which is fantastic. Things are selling quickly if they're priced right. Prices are escalating. I saw a statistic, for those folks out there that get my reports, from my monthly reports, know that the median sale price for homes in the Monroe County area from 2016 to current have gone up 28%.
Oh, wow.
That's huge.
It is.
Now, some communities a little bit less, some communities a little bit more, but that is a striking number. And we expect that to continue for the foreseeable future. We expect interest rates to, stay where they are. Although I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we saw a bit of an uptick to 3.5%. Oh my! That's all great for the market, I think. And we anticipate nationally that we're going to sell about 600,000 more units than last year, which should help a little bit with the inventory shortage. But from a consumer standpoint, it's almost like that extra homes for sale are non-existent. And what's driving that, that's the word of the show today, is drive.
Drive.
What's driving that is that things are moving quickly. And so it almost looks like the inventory isn't there.
Yeah. So who's going to drive you home tonight?
Yeah. Well, your favorite realtor.
Anything else to add?
Yeah, no, it's I work with many sellers, and I also work with many buyers that are in my pipeline, and I tell them all the same thing. You can't be discouraged in this market, and it's very easy to be discouraged to lose one home after another. But my advice is to work with an experienced agent that knows the market and follow their advice, and you will get a home. Just be patient.
And as a seller, should you have your next residence lined up before you put your house on because things are going so quick?
Yeah, to the extent that you can buy, not contingent to selling your existing home, that really is the ideal way to go. And there are some ways to do that creatively. And for folks that want to know, I don't want to take up a whole show on how to do that. We've talked about it before. Please contact me either by cell phone 233-4119 or my email address, which fits from Rockbox here. We'll put on the bottom of the screen here for folks.
Yep.
And we can walk you through how to do something like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, let's transition to our guest portion of the Common Sense Podcast. We have Andrew Wollison of the Wollison Insurance Agency. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for the invite.
Let's get started, Carmen.
Yeah.
What should we talk about?
Well, despite the fact that drive is the word of our podcast today, we're not going to be talking about driving or automobile insurance. We're going to be talking about home policies that someone would get for their home, or whether that's a place that they own. And we'll talk a little bit about the different kinds of homes that somebody may own. But a person's home may also be a place that they rent, and there's insurance for that as well.
They should be driven to get insurance on their residence.
That's
Of
right.
course.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So Andrew's my guy. He has helped me with insurance now for probably the better part of 30 or 40 years, I guess. And we work well together and have known each other on a personal level. And I tell you, if there's anything you want to know about insurance, this is the guy to ask. And
I can bore you to death. Yes.
The one thing, it's true, and the one thing that I'll say as a testament to Andrew is this: that go ahead, shop around, get whatever deals, and then give Andrew a call. And if he can outfit you better, he will. And if he honestly believes that you have a better deal someplace else, he'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, tell us about how you got into the business, how long you've been in the business. Why are you in this business?
Gosh, I've been in the business since 1980. My father had a small agency, and I took it over. And why I'm in this business, it's something that I learned how to do. Mm-hmm. And I think I do a good job of it. I'm a small agent. I'm not one of those huge agencies that you see advertised. I'm a one-person operation. And because of that, I know my clients intimately. Mm-hmm. And so when they call up the office, when they get a hold of me, they're speaking to the owner of the agency. And I have their interest in my heart and in my head.
Okay. So you're not speaking to some sort of reptile?
Absolutely.
at an 800 number.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's advantageous. Yeah. I would prefer that too.
Man, you are punchy today.
I really am on fire. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You might want to take the wheel from here.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to drive you someplace else other than here. So let's talk a little bit about homeowners insurance. So, is homeowners insurance required? Do you have to have it? Is there a law that says you have to have homeowners insurance? And I think the answer to that is no.
No.
However,
it is not required that you have it, but there are many instances where it turns around that it is required. If you have a mortgage on your house, the bank or lending institution will require it of you on there, and it just makes sense to have it. It protects you in so many ways that you don't even think of a lot of times until something happens. So it's just an important thing to have.
Yeah. So how does somebody go about and get homeowners insurance? They just give you a ring and say, I need homeowners insurance. I'm buying a house. Is it just that simple, or is there?
Well, that's how it usually starts. I usually get recommended by another client on there, but I usually get the address of the house, and I ask a lot of questions about the house. When it was built, what kind of style of house it is. How old is the roof? How old is the electric service in there? The plumbing, how old is that? And then we ask questions about how big the house is, any specialty rooms. We try to arrive at a replacement cost. And sometimes in the Rochester area, the replacement cost is much higher than the market value. And we don't insure houses for market value. We try to replace the damage to a house for a covered loss. So sometimes I wind up asking too many questions, and the client says, well, why are you asking this? And I have to explain to them that I'm just trying to figure out what the best deal is for them. Mm-hmm. So once I get all the information on the house, I actually go out and look at the house, because I want to make sure that the client is describing their purchase accurately, and also that we're speaking the same language about the house. So, and then once I get that, I start playing around with the numbers, and I do comparisons for amounts of coverages, deductibles, types of coverages, different companies. And then I speak to the realtor sometimes to get some more information. Sometimes I speak to the lending institution. And I just like dive into it and get all this stuff together. And then I try to give my customers more than one option, just so they feel they have a choice in the matter there. It's not so much just the best price, but, what are you getting for these dollars that you're going to be spending? Because the first time when they buy the house, that's when they're going to see the money going out of their checking account.
Yep.
And then after that, generally speaking, the insurance premiums are held in escrow, and they don't see the bill for the next 30 years.
Right.
So, and then
now is insurance, or are there basic coverages, and then are there things that you can add on based on what your risk tolerance might be?
Oh gosh, yes, yeah. You can have like a regular policy, which is called the broad form, or you can have a special form, which increases the amount of coverages there. Sometimes it's nothing special. That's just the title of the policy there, and that's generally speaking what the lending institution would require of you. And now, as insurance becomes more competitive, more bells and whistles are added to the policy. Sometimes it's something that might be very good for a customer. Other times it's just like,
you don't need it.
You don't really need it there.
Right.
But what you want to do is make sure you have the right amount of insurance for your house. You want to have a deductible that you can afford, pain-wise. The higher deductible that you have, the lower your premium is going to be. And you also want to make sure you have a decent limit of liability in case somebody gets hurt on your property there. The basic policy has $100,000, and these days, you see all the advertising and television from attorneys, people slipping on your sidewalk, or dogs, biting you, or anything like that. $100,000 is just going to go like that. So I generally start at $300,000, sometimes $500,000, and then you can get an personal umbrella policy on top of that. So people say, nothing's going to happen, but
So what it's interesting because I had this experience, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. You think that you are covered for certain things that you would expect to be in your homeowner's policy, but then come to find out you're not. Like, the power goes out and the sump pump starts working. Now your basement is flooded. That may or may not be covered.
That's an optional coverage.
Yeah, that's optional.
It really is. And in some places, it doesn't make sense to have that. If you live on top of a hill and you don't have a basement, why
bother with that?
Yeah, but if you live in a low-lying area that has a high water table, then it's something you should consider having. Definitely.
What about things like windstorms and ice storms? Are those things kind of included? Or
oh gosh, yeah, a windstorm, that's a common peril. It is, and it's in New York State, it's not really excluded at all. Along the coastal areas, like down on Long Island, you have some policies that will have a special deductible for hurricanes, which is much higher, but around here, you don't have to worry about that at all.
Right.
What about like collectibles. Somebody's got autographs or really expensive jewelry, rings, things like that. Can you add riders to your policy?
You add the riders to them, and what you do is you ask your agent how much it is, and generally speaking, you're going to need to have some sort of appraisal ahead of time.
Okay.
And you can't just say, "Oh, I want to insure this ring for $50,000 because that's how much I think it's worth." You're going to take it to a jeweler and get an up-to-date appraisal.
Okay.
Generally speaking, on a policy, there's like either a $500 or $1,000 or $1,500 worth of coverage on the regular homeowner's policy for jewelry and coin collections and stuff like that. And we can almost insure anything, almost. But before you know it, you're going to become insurance poor.
Right.
So how long does it take? I mean, if from the second somebody calls you and says, I need homeowners insurance, how long does it take before you can line them up with a couple of different options to choose from?
I usually, to be thorough, I need to have maybe 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days.
I mean, I can come up with something in an hour, but it's not thorough.
Right.
And I prefer to be thorough. I just don't want to throw something together and say to a client, "Here you go."
Right.
I want to be able to give options, and I think any insurance agent would that's worth their salt would do the same thing.
Right. So, and now, so I would assume that aside from square footage and particular features of a home, the insurance on a colonial is not going to be any different than the insurance on a ranch per se. But you do have a different kind of insurance if you're buying something that's a townhouse or in condominium, right?
Oh gosh, yes. There's this condo insurance, condo unit insurance, which protects the items that are inside your house, which would include your personal property, and then any things that you have put into the condo, like if you put in special walls or if you put in a special counter or special lighting or anything along those lines. But many times you got to check with your homeowners association first to see where their master policy stops. Sometimes it stops just on the other side of this wall. Other times, they'll pay for the upgrades that are on there. But it's something that you really need to investigate. And so that's one of the things I do. I try to get a hold of the Homeowners Association, get a copy of their
master policy.
Their master policy and also their rules.
The rules.
To see what their intent is. And if it says, "Hey, we cover everything," then I get a smaller policy for the condo owner. And if they say, "Oh, we only cover to the outside walls," then I get a more intensive,
more comprehensive
policy for them. Great. Yeah. So if it's similar to a renter's policy, but it covers the stuff that you do not own in common with the rest of the association.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
And then renters insurance is to protect from injury of somebody at your place?
Well, that does that too. It protects your personal property against covered perils of loss. And we have a deductible there. So if you have something that's stolen or if your apartment burns, every now and then you see where apartment complexes have fires or the multiple dwellings have fire. And you see these poor tenants, like carting out like their cherished belongings that are charred. They're just going to have to throw them out. None of them have any insurance. And
let's, we got to say something here because I think this is not well understood with tenants. So your landlord's policy does not include
coverage
does not cover any of your stuff.
Nothing.
So
nothing at all. So it's a very important thing for a tenant to have this coverage, and it also, it covers their personal liability. in case they have a rug on the floor and somebody slips on that rug.
Right.
Or if they at the golf course and they bop somebody, with the golf ball, if it's part of the coverage for liability there. And the other thing that it's good for is when you finally buy a house. When you go to Carmen and you buy a house from Carmen or through Carmen, one of the questions they ask for homeowners, well, do you have insurance in your name?
Right.
And if you say, yeah, I have tenant insurance, that's great. It's sort of like a
background, like a history or credit, right?
Credit, yeah. It's very much. And speaking of credit, a lot of agents are now required to get an insurance score, which is very similar to a credit score. So you just gotta take care of yourself all the way around. If you're gonna buy a house through Carmen or anybody else, you got to maintain it well, and part of that is maintaining, your good name, your credit, and all the above.
So if you have something that happens and you have a claim against your policy, does your premium go up?
That's a new question. It depends on the type of claim. It depends on the type of claim. If it's a little tiny claim, probably not. If it's a very large claim, they will charge for it down the road. A lot of companies are doing it. It's with the artificial intelligence that they're out there, they can put in so many different factors for a premium. Mm-hmm. And one of them, an insurance company might surcharge for a claim. And if you have multiple claims, you might actually find yourself at the end of the term without insurance. So I always tell my clients that insurance is for the big things,
right?
Not for the small things. So if you have something happen and it's covered and the whole claim is like $700 and you got a $500 deductible.
Yeah, just pay it.
Just don't do it. Don't do it. Because down the road, you might have a claim that's like $80,000.
Right.
And that's where you put in the claim for it. So at least that's my thought on it.
That makes sense. Now, you mentioned something earlier. You don't see the bill. I don't know if I've really looked at my homeowner's policy in years. So, I write ads, and it's common that in an insurance ad, if you haven't reviewed your insurance lately, let me take a look at it.
Absolutely. What I try and do is I try to send a letter out to my clients once a year going over their policy. This is in addition to whatever is sent to them by the insurance company, the actual renewal policy or the bill if it goes to them, or a copy of the bill if it goes to the mortgage holder. I try to send a small, concise letter just saying, hey, you got this much coverage for this, and you got this much coverage for that. And don't forget, flood insurance isn't covered. If you want flood insurance, contact me. You don't have earthquake insurance. If you want earthquake insurance, contact me. Or if there's been changes in the family and you now have jewelry or something like that, contact me. And a lot of times people don't even read that. But I try to put something in the envelope to make them open it, like a tchotchke or something.
Yeah, a tchotchke.
Yeah, a magnetic calendar.
Magnetic calendar. That's
We're
it.
big on tchotchkes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
they really drive things, don't they?
So anybody should look at their policies because things change.
So, I know that we're this is primarily a real estate show, but I think we should also say that in addition to insurance tied to some type of real estate or a rental. What other kinds of insurances do you help people get?
I help them get business insurance policies, personal liability insurance, which is also known as the umbrella policy. Same thing for commercial or businesses that need larger liability. We were going to talk about landlords, don't forget.
Yeah.
So landlord insurance is a big thing there. There's a lot of people investing in Rochester for rental properties, and there's a lot of people taking good care of these properties. And I want people to remember that a renter's policy is not the same thing as a homeowner's policy.
Right.
A renter's policy is designed for a property where tenants are moving in, where a homeowner's policy is designed for people, designed for a property where people, the owners, are going to be living in there. So just like a homeowner needs to take care of their house, a landlord needs to take care of it too, and make sure that certain things don't happen to it, because there are certain things that are not covered. Lead poisoning
Right.
is a big issue, and landlords should have a form ready to have their tenants sign off on that, because that's not covered under a landlord policy. Also, insurance companies are very afraid of dogs.
Certain breeds.
Certain breeds, like the pit bulls, the Dobermans, the German shepherds, or any dog that's had a history of biting or anything like that. And it behooves the landlord to require that their tenants have insurance, because if something happens on that's the fault of the tenant, if they don't have any insurance, the lawyers are just going to go for the next step up.
Wow.
Right.
So landlords got to take care of themselves also. So get the right kind of policy, and be forthright and honest with your agent, and let them know that you're not going to be living in this property, and that it's going to be occupied by renters or tenants. And that way the agent can prepare the right kind of policy for you.
Yeah, because that really is a different kind of coverage.
It's huge. If you're not honest with the insurance company could deny a claim, and it's not just a small claim, but it could be a big claim also.
Right.
Insurance companies are in business just like any other business. They're in business to make money.
Sure.
So am I. There's nothing wrong with making money, is there? Nope. And one of the ways they do it is just make sure everything's on the up and up.
Yeah.
Great. Now, how should someone reach you? What's the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me is by calling me. My phone number at the office is 425-1870, and my cell phone, which I also text on, is 755-1870. Call anytime.
Great. So, one of the danger rooms in a home is the kitchen.
The kitchen.
Yep.
It is. So, that's why I think it's time for
Carmen Cooks.
What's on the menu today, Carmen?
Well, you know how much I like my greens, right?
Yes, you do.
So it's starting to become spring, and the grass is still brown and
It is.
covered with twigs and leaves and stuff. But in a few weeks, as things start to warm up and it starts to rain and stuff gets cleaned up, what's going to pop up in your yard are dandelions. And I can't wait, because dandelions are fantastic alone or with other salad greens in a salad. And just got to make sure to pick them when they're young. They're not the big fat,
Right.
gnarly leaves, because that becomes more bitter and a little tougher. And once they have a little dandelion flower bud on them, that's probably past. I'm sure they're still edible, but that's probably past where they're delectable.
Right.
And I can't wait to pick those and make a nice dandelion salad, and with some good wine vinegar, and of course with some good olive oil.
I was going to say, because my Aunt Jinx used to make dandelion salad.
Yeah.
And I'd go over there for an overnight, and she'd serve dandelion salad. I'd go, oh, you're kidding. That's stuff that grows in the yard. Why are we eating it?
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
the best.
Yeah.
But you gotta, and if people will take a second and do a Google search, the nutritive value of dandelions is fantastic.
Oh, no kidding.
With vitamin A and D and K and folates and minerals like iron and all that stuff. So it's fairly healthy for you. But be cautious. I mean, if you are throwing pesticides,
Well, I was just going to ask.
lawn, probably shouldn't be eating.
Don't eat those. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you can buy domesticated dandelions at your favorite grocer. Many of them carry them these days.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah. And there are different kinds of greens that you can grow that are in the chicory family. And I've seen them at the grocery store from time to time. And,
Okay.
they're good too. But, we talked about the frugal gourmet, I think, in one or two past podcasts. And I'm frugal that way. I like to go and pick stuff that's, growing in my yard.
Yeah. Well, I do too. And it's usually all of those sticks and branches that I was picking up the other warm day. So
Yeah, make a fantastic soup with
yeah,
those.
it really does.
Lots of roughage.
Totally. All right, let's get to your contact information one more time.
Sure, absolutely. The easiest way to get a hold of me is by call or text message on my cell phone, and that's 233-4119. And then, of course, my email address, carmen.lonardo@remax.net. Now would be a good time to just throw in a little zinger there about where we're going.
So
here.
There's going to be changes to the Carmen Sense podcast that will be coming soon. The show will go on.
Yes.
We just need to drive more people our way and have more people enjoy this show.
Right. Yeah.
So stay tuned for some. This is called a teaser.
Yeah. We like to think it's the personalities that people.
Yeah.
Are.
They just love us. So that's why you should rate this podcast highly on whatever platform you use. Please do that for us. That would be very helpful. And we'd like to thank Fitz from Rockbox, as usual, behind the glass and doing such a great job. If you're considering, it's like what Carmen says. Don't sell a home on your own. Right. Get a qualified, experienced real estate agent, and in this way, get a qualified, experienced videographer and studio guy to put together your podcast.
Yeah, no, the facilities here are fantastic, and Fitz and his crew they really know their stuff.
Yeah, they're top notch.
I mean, they make us look good.
Which is very difficult. And you can find me at therightcreative.net. You can find me on LinkedIn for any kind of hosting, writing, voiceovers, and things like that. So I'm Kurt Boomershank with Carmen Leonardo on the Carmen Sense podcast.
Common sense approach to real estate.
And we'll see you again soon, folks. Take care.
So long.